together and try to get an experience. Because I agree with what you said about, body, soul, and spirit. And if the soul is the body, is the mind, will, and emotions. But I'm trying to make sure I do understand about empowering, enabling, and abiding, is that in order for me to be a more effective Christian, on a daily basis, I'm trying to make sure I understand how the spirit, a spirit, is going to control this mind, or the mind, will, emotions.
Well, I'm
You
probably
need to keep bringing sweets.
Yes, keep
sweet. Help you be sanctified. We'll
Well,
get fat, you'll be sanctified.
Exactly. You
So-
understand what I'm trying to say?
You're definitely going to heaven.
I know I got my ticket punched, I'm not worried about that. I'm trying to be more effective.
He wants first class, that's all.
That's right.
So, I'm not sure I'd use the word existentialist, because that means a lot of different things to a whole lot of people. Most history of existentialism is very atheistic
I know.
and human psychology oriented.
Right word.
However, Soren Kierkegaard, right, the guy who was kind of deemed the father of Christian existentialism, tried to bring in this experiential basis. So I'm not against Kierkegaard and his views, although I don't agree with everything he said. But I think the word existential is not very well understood by most people. So I don't use that word. What I talk about is my experience with Christ. The essence of Jesus indwells me through His Spirit. How does that impact my experience as a human being? Well, that's called the Christian life. Now, our Pentecostal friends have come up with a system that I think sounds biblical, but it's not biblical, but it gives them an experience. Our Bible church people have a different experience and a different methodology, and it's called, whatever. Some of my Reformed friends have a different thing. It's called legalism. So these are all expressions of how to have an experience with the living God. And I would reject all of them, and I would say, let's go back to biblical. The biblical terminology is walk in the Spirit, be filled with the Spirit. You have a sinless seed who dwells in you. So let's be in fellowship with Him. Not through legalism, not through, I got to, I ought to. It's through the Lord, I want to. Right? It's a want to, not a got to mentality. But you're only going to want to when you have a big picture of who He is. And the bigger you see who Jesus is, and the more personalized you see who God is, instead of trivializing Him, we see the bigness of Him. And of course, the Bible is trying to help us see the bigness of Him. And the more we see the bigness of Him, the more we go, oh my gosh, you are great. You are awesome. Kids today, that was an awesome dinner. That was an awesome dessert. Wow, that was awesome. No, there's only one who's awesome, and that's God. And everything else, when we talk about God and dinner, the same words, we trivialize who God is. So let's keep Him big. And when He's big, all of a sudden the world doesn't look that important. And that's why Paul could say, yeah, my citizenship's in heaven. I live here, I walk here, and he'll use the papers if it gets him farther with the gospel. But he realized, no, this is passing through stuff. We need to have that mentality. I realized over maybe the last 10 years, I've become much more nationalistic. Okay, this is not globalism versus nationalism. It's just more nationalistic and concerned about my country. And if you watch too much Fox News, you'll just obsess on that too much. Okay. But I'm more impressed, and want to be more sensitized to the future nation, the future city, the future picture, the world of the future, a kingdom that cannot be shaken, not just here. You tend to get focused here. It's my day, my century, my country, my. That's just a small little piece on the mud ball. All these things are going to change in a minute. Now, one last thing, because we're running out of time. You notice he says in verse 20, we know Him who is true, and we are in Him who is true, in His Son, Jesus Christ. This is true God and eternal life. Eternal life. Now, we tend to think we know what that means. And so I think we don't, so I've given you the next page and a half. We'll kind of explain a little bit about eternal life. Eternal life can be used in a qualitative or a quantitative sense. It can refer to a length of time. It can refer to a quality of life in time and beyond. When it's referring to the length, it's usually looking at it as a gift. We've been given the gift of eternal life for all eternity. But eternal life can be a reward of being found faithful. And there it has to do with the idea of quality. So it's quantitative and qualitative both. And you say, well, is that in the Bible? Yes, and the next page you have will clarify that because I give you a bunch of references that force us into that. So you can take that home and read for fun. So I need to know my true person, that's my position. Then I can grow in my experience of fellowship and abiding, that's my practice. The result is that I know God. I have intimacy with Him. And that's the perception, which is where John wants to try to get us in the first place. Verse 21, little children, here's his end, last words are lasting words. Little children, guard yourselves from idols. What in the world is that about? I mean, we're up here. And then, guide yourself. Yeah, because they lived in a world where they had idols everywhere. And when you have the truth, you can reject the falsehood. Don't go after the idols. If your experience with God is real and it's full and it's complete, then I don't need any replacements. So don't go into the idol factories. Don't go into the shops. Don't buy this or that. Don't buy the relics. Don't do any of that. Why? Because you're looking to physically make God here, and He's not. He's here. He's not able to be reduced to a relic. He's not able to be reduced to some symbol that you hold in your hand. So reject that. So, if we abide in perfect love, I will not be ashamed at the bema, the judgment seat in the future, and I will experience fellowship with the Father today. That's John's message. We, the apostles, we are experiencing the fellowship with God now. We want you to have the same thing. And if you do, it will only be an expression of the sinless one who indwells you as your new person is manifested to the world. So it doesn't matter what the Senate does. It doesn't matter what happens to America. I can pray for it. But at the end of the day, what matters is that I walk in the power of the risen Savior. So, Father, guide us today as we seek to do that to your glory. I pray for our country that you would do justice and righteousness. And yet we pray, Lord, and submit to your prophetic will, whatever that be for our country. But for us, Lord, today, with the energy we have and the opportunities you bring, help us manifest Christ to a lost and dying world. We pray this in Christ's name.
Amen.
Next week we're going